guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another first impressions, and I'm so excited because today I'm testing out the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation, and I think my next first impressions is going to be the Kat Von D Lock-It Foundation, so be sure to give this video a thumbs up so I know you guys want to see that. If this is the first video of mine you are seeing, I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe down below. I will have my full list of past foundation reviews listed in the description bar. It's always down there, so be sure to check it out. If you aren't new to my channel, you already know that I do these reviews because I feel like it's definitely hard when you have problematic skin to find reviews from people who have acne and hyperpigmentation and stuff like that. So I love testing out these foundations for you guys and helping you guys out and hopefully saving you guys some money. I am also currently vlogging my experience with Accutane. This video is pre-filmed a little bit, but as of now I've been on Accutane for 2 weeks, and I'm going to be continuing to vlog my entire process and experience with it, so be sure to check those videos out as well. But anyways, let's get into a little bit about this foundation. So I bought this foundation on Beautylish for $44 USD. Since purchasing it, I have realized that Charlotte Tilbury is also sold on the Holt Renfrew website, so if you're Canadian, definitely order it on there. You'll probably save yourself some money, unlike me. And this is just standard foundation size. In terms of packaging, the packaging is quite luxe. It's a nice frosted glass bottle, got like the beautiful rose gold and white lid, and one thing though is I think my packaging is a little bit broken because when you open it there's like a little wand on here, and mine's like really like rickety and kind of loose, and I don't know if this is what it's supposed to look like on the end. I feel like it might be broken. This foundation is available in 15 different shades. I chose the shade 3 Fair. For finish and coverage, from what I can gather, the finish is supposed to be quite natural. They don't make any specific claims about it, and the coverage is supposed to be full. They say it's good for acne, rosacea, melasma, all kinds of problematic skin, so that is very exciting. For claims and benefits, once again, this foundation is supposed to be weightless. It's supposed to have a very second skin kind of texture. It also says it's supposed to be poreless as well, and it is meant to have anti-aging benefits, and it says on the box that it is formulated with hyaluronic acid, mushroom extract, and vitamin C as well. The website said it glides on like a dream, and it's supposed to be poreless and flawless and long lasting. Also has SPF 15. It is a kind of physical SPF, which is best for sensitive skin but not great for flash photography most of the time. It does have a fairly low SPF, but you still might want to avoid it for photography. And finally, for application, they recommend their Magic Foundation brush. I'm going to use my Urban Decay optical blurring brush because this was kind of, I think, the closest thing I had. So I'm going to clip my hair back and we're going to get started. I also just realized I forgot to mention that they recommend this for all skin types. My personal skin type is typically very, very oily. Since I am on Accutane, my skin is starting to normalize ever so slightly, but I am still oily in my T-zone. Just so you guys know if you haven't seen any of my videos before. So I have already gone ahead and primed the left half of my face. I'm just using the Maybelline Blur and Smooth Primer. If you saw my March favorites, you know that I'm really enjoying this lately. So I'm just going to get a little bit of foundation on the back of my hand to start off with. It's kind of like a thicker liquid consistency, not quite a cream, but it is fairly thick from what I can tell. So I'm just going to take this and do a little kind of like dab on all the main areas of my face. I already feel like I'm going to need a little bit more, but I'm going to go ahead and just start kind of blending this out. Brush kind of honestly just like ate the product, so I think we're gonna scratch that idea, and I'm gonna go grab my beauty blender because I feel like that was a good amount of foundation and I feel like it really didn't do much at all. Okay, so I grabbed a beauty blender, but yeah, that was really weird. I really typically like this brush, and it gave me like a light amount of coverage, but for the most part I feel like it was all just like being soaked up by the brush and not really going as far as it should. So I'm going to take another little swipe on my hand and try it with the beauty blender. That was already quite a bit of product, but I feel like even the beauty blender is just kind of like soaking it up. I know it's a sponge and it's going to soak up a little bit of the product, but I feel like it's still just like soaking up more of it than usual. Like I've already used a considerable amount of product and I feel like I'm not getting amazing coverage. It's kind of like, I'd say medium coverage at this point, so I guess I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm gonna end up being like super cakey today. So I used up that full amount of foundation, and it did build up quite well. Like, it's at a better level of coverage, definitely, for sure, but that took a ton of product. Like, if that's how much it takes to actually get to the full coverage that it claims, I can see myself burning through this extremely fast. So I don't know how I feel about that, and I know I just said I'm going to be cakey. It isn't actually really looking cakey on my skin, I would say. Maybe a little bit around my mouth. But for the most part, it's pretty silky looking. I think it looks okay so far. I actually had more issues building it on the primed side of my face. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see, you probably will in the close-up, but right in here, there's still a little bit of redness peeking through, and it was a little bit harder to build in that area. I feel like the shade is a little bit off. I feel like it's a tiny bit too dark, but I think the other ones below this, like shade 1 and 2, were a little bit too pink based. Of course, I can't really tell what it's going to look like on camera, but in person it's just like a little bit off, and it's already setting quite a bit actually. Like, just while I've been talking for this like minute or so, it's set down quite a bit and it's not quite as shiny. I'd say it is more natural. It's not streaky or anything like that. It did go on pretty evenly, but it just took a ton of product, which I can see if it like claims to be a medium foundation. I'm kind of like trying to push it up to full coverage, but it does claim to be full coverage already, so I don't think it should require quite that much building. I ended up using almost 3 full swipes from this wand, which is a lot. I'm gonna remove the foundation from my lips though, so I look a little bit less ghastly, and then I'm gonna do my close-up so you guys can see what it's looking like. So this is what it's looking like close up. I think it looks okay. Not my favorite so far, but it does look quite natural, I feel like. Ever so slightly cakey in here, I think, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my base makeup and check in with you guys in a couple minutes. Okay, so my base is complete. For concealer, I use the NYX HD in my T-zone and eye area. Makeup Forever Full Cover for a couple blemishes I wanted to spot conceal. NYX HD finishing powder once again in my T-zone kind of area, and then Bare Minerals Mineral Veil for the rest of my face. Couple things I noticed while finishing off the rest of my face makeup. First of all is that it did set down quite a bit more. I set my face like as very last, like after I do my brows and everything. And during the time that I was doing my brows, it took on a much more matte finish. Not fully matte, but I would say it's like demi-matte. Like the luminosity of it completely dried down. I'm also really annoyed to say that it has oxidized. Once again, I don't know if you'll be able to see on camera, but the shade was already a little bit too dark, and now I feel like it's starting to look a little bit orange. The main reason I like really notice this is because the little bit of foundation that I had left on my hand has gotten really orange now. I also found that my concealer didn't blend out super well over this product. It just kind of stuck in place and was just harder to blend. Unrelated, but I also hate the way my eyebrows turned out today, so things are just going great. Overall, despite all those things, I think it looks okay. Nothing great. I feel like I've just been like wowed by so many amazing foundations lately that I just like don't want to settle for anything less, honestly. It is very creasy and kind of cakey looking right in here where I tend to crease. It's definitely drawing attention there, and on this side of my mouth too, actually, now that I'm looking at it, where I don't usually get as much creasing on this side. Oh, I'm not loving this, you guys. I feel like it might look okay on camera, but I'm really just not feeling this in person. 12:45 was the starting time. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. I'm going to do my close-ups like this, my close-up with my makeup done. You guys all know the drill, and I will talk to you guys a little bit later. It is 5:45 currently, so I've had this foundation on for 5 hours. It has definitely oxidized. From what I can tell though, otherwise, it looks pretty decent on camera aside from the shade, but you can definitely tell it's considerably darker than my neck and chest now. So if you are wanting to try this foundation, definitely go at least a shade lighter because it is going to oxidize. The thing that I think is really keeping me from liking it is the fact that I had to use so much product. I will say, however, that it is very lightweight. Like, even though I have so much product on my face, it really doesn't feel heavy in the slightest, so definitely lives up to the Weightless claim. I don't think it does too much in terms of smoothing. It does have silicones in it, but it's not like a super slick foundation. I also did add a considerable amount of highlight because once it dried down, it was quite matte on my skin, and I just wanted a little bit more glow, so the finish isn't necessarily my favorite. I feel like even if I had a perfect shade match, I would just feel kind of like mediocre about this foundation. It just took so much to get it to full coverage. Like, I think it's more of a medium coverage on its own, so like full coverage but like marketed to people who already have decent skin. Once again, I feel like it looks okay on camera, but I don't know, I'm not in love with it basically. But I think that's all I had to update on so far. I'll do like a pros and cons list at the end of the day, but I will talk to you guys later on. Alright you guys, this is going to be my final check-in. It is just about midnight, so I've had this foundation on for like roughly 11 hours. I have very mixed feelings about this product, but I'm going to get into the pros and cons. I made a list. The first pro is that this wore really, really well. Like, my skin, like I said, it is kind of balancing out now and I'm not quite as oily from the Accutane, but it has worn extremely well. I'm a little bit shiny in my T-zone, but just very barely, and it hasn't really worn off like most foundations do. It's just staying on extremely well, and it is also very lightweight. Despite the large amount of product I had to apply, it really feels undetectable on my skin. I feel like it did build up quite well. Like I said, I did have a little bit of problems building it up in some areas, but for the most part it built up very well without getting too cakey. I also really like the SPF in it. I like that it's a physical SPF. So then I have a couple neutral things as well. First one is that it has more of a natural matte finish, I would say, when it dries down, which, I mean, it's either going to be your thing or it's not. And I would also say that it's not smoothing, but at the same time it also doesn't accentuate texture aside from the little bit of creasing that I saw. So now on to the cons. First of all, I had to use such a ridiculous amount of product to get it up to full coverage, which is just what it flat out claims it is. It doesn't say medium, doesn't say medium buildable, it just says straight up full coverage. I could probably get away with using a little bit less if I didn't use the brush beforehand, if I just went in with the beauty blender right away, but it was still a lot. Now, I have looked back at the footage from today and it appears that you can't tell how much this foundation has actually oxidized on camera, and on camera this foundation actually looks really good, but it definitely has oxidized. It's gotten quite a few shades darker and the shade is just not something I can really make work. And finally, for cons, my concealer was a little bit hard to blend over top of this, like I said, but it was nothing drastic. Like, it's not like a deal breaker kind of thing. I just have other foundations where my other products apply a little bit more effortlessly over top of it, if that makes sense. I'm very torn. I feel like I probably came off as being really harsh and critical of it earlier on, but at the end of the day this looks really good on camera and it looks quite good in person aside from the shade being off for me. But there's just something about it that I'm just not loving for some reason. Like, it is a more high-end expensive foundation and I just don't know if it's worth the money. Like, I did order it online and the shade's not going to work for me, so I'm going to have to send it back. So it's like, do I bother exchanging it or do I just return it? Like, is it something that I actually want to exchange and try out more and see if I can like really make it work for me and love it? Or should I just stick with the foundations that already work for me really well? Like, I don't really know, because I don't know. I had issues with it, but I feel like it actually ended up looking really good. I'm just very torn. You guys, let me know your opinion down below. What do you think I should do with this foundation? Because I really don't know. I feel like I have other foundations that I like better, that use less product when I apply it. It just kind of meshes better with some of the other products I use. It looks pretty much the same on the prime side and unprimed side, so I don't know, not a huge difference there. Yeah, I think that kind of sums up my thoughts. I'm sorry this review is quite indecisive. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know how you think it looks and if I should switch it out for a different shade. Otherwise, I am going to return it just because the shade doesn't work, so yeah, I just don't know if it's worth it. Hopefully this video gave you a little bit of insight to how it works though, even though I am still quite indecisive about it, and hopefully you found it helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. If you are new to my channel, check out my past list of foundation reviews down below, and of course hit subscribe. I do these reviews all the time. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter and Instagram as well. I am at Sarah Rihanna on both, and I will talk to all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys!